The first scripture reading for today will be Matthew 14, verse 22 through 31. Then he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat by this time was many furlongs distant from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost!" And they cried out for fear. But immediately he spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I, have no fear." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, bid me come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him.
Good morning. I think I'm a bit short for behind here, so I'll probably just stand out here. You know those storms in life in which pain, loss, and confusion, they swirl up and consume you. Those moments filled with fear because you recognize your life is so fragile. It can feel as though something as small as a pin dropping could cue a storm of events that can end in some sort of internal death. Well, in the case of the apostles here, they faced fear and life's fragileness in the most concrete sense as they could possibly drown. The waves were pushing and pulling the boat back and forth, and the wind was probably blowing violently, making it difficult to stand, let alone walk through the waves, as Jesus commanded Peter. I'm sure the apostles felt and knew fear. If I put myself in Peter's skin, I'd be wondering, how am I supposed to walk on water? And why do I trust someone with these impossible demands? I mean, he's God incarnate. Of course, he can walk on water. What about me? I can't walk on water. I'm sure Peter felt and knew fear. Yet somehow he managed. He did walk on water a little bit before the wind became too strong. And when the wind blew and scared him, he started to sink. But as he cried out, "Lord, save me," Jesus was there to pull him out of the water. This compares to some of my experiences at the beach. You see, I'm a complete water baby, and I was lucky enough to live 1 year on one of the world's best surfing beaches in Australia. And as you can imagine, the waves there were quite literally consuming. You could be in the water waist high and see a wave forming in the distance. And you know it's going to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger until it's close and is at least a whole body's length above your head. Well, sometimes you could dive straight through the wave and feel an immense rush of water fly past you. Then there are those other times. Those times when your body is taken by the wave. It flips you and twists you and throws you. You're underwater, your air is knocked out of your lungs, your nose burns from salt water, and you have no clue which way is up. It's at times like these when we need a Jesus to pull us out of the water. Jesus doesn't walk the earth today as he did before, though. So what do we do when we cry out, "Lord, save me"? I've come to learn that I can't expect a lightning bolt to guide me every time I'm desperately praying for guidance. We've all experienced these moments when it feels as though a miracle is the only thing that can keep us from drowning. Luckily, Jesus still walks the earth. In fact, I've met Jesus a couple of times in my life. I've met him in the form of a nearly homeless, recovering alcoholic who changed his ways after seeing his grandbaby for the first time. While looking at his life, I couldn't imagine being content or finding happiness in his shoes. Yet he was the one who had the faith to tell me that God has great plans for me. He was the one who had the faith to tell me that God has great plans for me. I met Jesus yesterday, actually, when a new friend of mine just shared the right piece of wisdom I needed to hear to get through the next couple of days. You see, Jesus is here in all of us. We are the hands and feet of Christ. And we are each needed at times to be that hand that pulls people out of the water. But on the other side of things, we need to know that we can't walk on water when the storms hit. Even Peter could not stay on top of the water when the winds blew. Without a capable hand now and then, I can't walk on water. Neither can you, and that's okay.